In the previous video, we finished animating our zombie's face by keying the eye blinks and by keying the movement of several other animation controls. In this video, we'll bake all the animation that we've created to prepare it for exporting from FaceRobot. Baking, also known as plotting, processes the animation and creates an F-curve for each of the animation controls. Before we start, let's review what's driving the animation controls on our zombie's face. Retargeting operators are driving the mocap animation on most of the controls. For some of these controls, we added keyframes on top of the retargeting operators that create offsets to the mocap animation. Keyframes are directly driving the animation on the eyelid, look at, and upper orbital controls. Note that there are still retargeting operators on the eyelid controls, but we didn't use the mocap data for their animation. The speech action clip is driving the lip sync animation on the lip, jaw, and tongue controls. The mocap animation and its keyframe offsets on the lower lip controls are blended with the speech action clip. So, why do you need to plot the animation? The main reason is that the mocap animation driven by the retargeting operators must be converted into F-curves on the controls before we can export the animation from FaceRobot. As well, the lip sync animation in the speech action clip needs to be plotted as F-curves onto the mouth controls so that it too can be exported. We'll cover the different ways of exporting from FaceRobot in later videos. The only controls whose animation doesn't need to get plotted are the look at and upper orbital controls. This is because they're already animated directly using F-curves. Another reason to plot animation into F-curves is to simply have all the animation data in the same format. When you have many sources of animation, especially if that animation has offsets or is blended, it's easier to make final adjustments when all the sources are compiled into F-curves. Because the plotting process removes the retargeting operators from the animation controls, it's a good idea to save this scene in a new file before you proceed. This way, the mocap animation is saved in its original form so that you can come back to that scene to make adjustments, if need be. In the new scene, click the Tools tab and select Plot. Set the range of frames in the scene you want to plot, and enter a value for the interval size, which we'll leave at 4. This creates one key for every 4th frame in the resulting plotted curves. More keys give a more accurate representation of the original animation, but can make the F-curves more difficult to edit. Fewer keys create lighter F-curves, but the resulting animation may be less accurate. You may need to do a few tests using different interval sizes to find the right number of keys for the animation results you want. If you wanted the plotted F-curves to be saved in an action clip instead of being applied directly on the controls, you would select the Plot to Action Clip option. Then you could also select the Split Tracks option, which creates separate action clips for the lip, jaw, and tongue controls. However, we need the F-curves to be directly on the controls themselves for exporting, so we won't create an action clip. With everything set up, click OK to start plotting. During this process, FaceRobot extracts all the animation data from the controls and removes the mocap retargeting operators from the controls. Then it plots all the animation into F-curves using a fitting process which preserves the shape of the original F-curves. The number of keys on the resulting plotted curves depends on the interval size value you set earlier. Once the fitting is done, the plotted F-curves are applied to the animation controls. Select some controls and take a look at their plotted curves. You can edit these curves to adjust the animation as you need to. The mouth controls have F-curves on them, but the animation icons indicate that they're still being driven by the action clip in this scene. However, when the animation is exported, only the F-curves will be driving the mouth controls animation. Open the lip sync view and mute the speech action clip, then scrub to see that the F-curves on the mouth controls are working. Play back the animation to see how it looks. In the next video, we'll show how to cache the face's animation to a file, which is one of the ways in which you can export the face robot animation.
Please, sir, may I have some more brains?